What you're about to watch is from the most recent live stream. This is the actual math that I go through to find the CR numbers and compare it to what's printed. And with that intro out of the way, let's get right into the video. Alright, I didn't get my light shot ready, so we will start there. And use the usual items of just looking at the armor and hit points first. So we'll add those in with a armor of 16, which apparently is natural, I guess? Or just from its dex bonuses, I don't know. Doesn't say where it's coming from, which is odd. Anyways, medium creature, and it's got 20 d8 hit points, plus a constitution of 16, and even though we don't need it, I'll throw in the wisdom and the charisma. Oh, wow, 20 charisma, not bad at all. Alright, so we are looking at a possible CR11. Severin has these features while wearing the Mask of the Dragon Queen. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind because of the Mask of the Dragon Queen as well. I had this show up once before with a previous character that I did that also came from Rise of Tiamat. I can't think of the character's name, but it was all like electrical blue dragon based. Anyways, so we're expecting Severin to be a CR11. Now let's take a look at some of the other gear that it has here on the side. Well, actually before we get to the gear and whatnot, let's take a look at the skills section. And I see that we have 2 saving throws, which doesn't matter because 0 to 2 saving throws doesn't add anything. We got skills that don't matter. We have damage immunity to fire, which comes from the mask. Only 1 trait, so we're going to skip over that. And then we have damage resistance, which is the next one, which is important. So we have acid, cold, lightning, poison, bludgeoning, and all the others. While I guess they are wearing the mask. So we will go ahead and add in damage resistance, which isn't going to be a whole lot, considering they're expected to be a CR11. So we're looking at a total of 1.25 times the hit points. So right off, we're already seeing 150, translating into 187. Because of that extra 25% increase. Now let's take a look at some of their traits and special equipment. So over here on the right we have special equipment, which is the Mask of the Dragon Queen, which will do a bunch of extra things. I will have to look up later to see what else it might do. Then we have the Draconic Mastery, or Majesty, Draconic Majesty, which adds his charisma bonus to his AC. So, that's where the AC bonus is coming from, which is pretty much why we don't need to worry about the AC, because it's going to be Dex and the Charisma bonus of +5. So that's where the 16 is coming from. Now, normally, I would come down here into these monster features and look for the one that does Charisma based, which I believe was the Fiendish Blessing. So technically, if we wanted to, since there's nothing really else going on with it, we could say, all right, Severin has a base 10 plus the +1 dex bonus, equaling out to 11. And then just for the fun of it, since we already have charisma added in here, we can do the Fiendish Blessing, which adds charisma to the AC. And we'll see that we get the effective AC bonus added in from the charisma modifier. Most cases, the monster's already going to have the charisma or the wisdom bonus to AC already applied, so it's not like there's anything that needs to be added in. This is just an option that could be used. I leave it in there in case people want to verify this, but just for the sake of actually using it for once out of all the times I've done this, we'll leave it in the way it is now. So also back on the right, we have Ignite Enemy and Legendary Resistance 5 times per day. That is impressive. I haven't seen anything over 3, and I saw recently 4, I think. So I just talked out of both sides of my mouth there, because I saw a 4 recently, which was the first time, and now we're having a resistance of 5. So let's take a look, step back, and look at Ignite Enemy here. If Severin deals fire damage to a creature while wearing the Mask of the Dragon Queen, which they should be, the target catches fire. At the start of each of its turns, the target takes 1d10 fire damage and, can use its action, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about that. All right, so we could suggest that this is adding in an extra 5 points of damage per round, which we could use one of the other items over here, like, for instance, Angelic Weapon. Angelic Weapon just adds magical damage to one of the weapons. Yes, Cornucopia. That is a lot of legendary resistances. That's mind-blowing. So for the time being, we're going to use Angelic Weapon for the Ignite Enemy trait. So we're going to have an extra 5 damage per round that will be added in. Already we're seeing this since, you know, if we look over here at the damage per round of 1 and compare it to this chart over here, and I still have some other items from last time, we're already seeing the plus 5 damage per round that it would technically be giving each time. Okay, now for the legendary resistances, which is going to be a lot of hit points, in theory. Yeah, 150 extra hit points. Wow. So we've gone from 150 plus the other 150, and then also the multiplier. So we're taking with PEMDAS rules back from algebra, we're taking our multiplication first of 150, multiplying it by, let me get the pen out here. So we're going to get our base, multiply it by the bonus from resistances, and then add in the 150 hit points to give us our current effective hit points of 337. This is absurd. Oh man, and we haven't even gotten into the actions or legendary actions yet. This is going to be fun. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? All right, actions. Let's take a look at those actions and see what we got. So for our actions, we have Burning Touch, Flaming Orb, and Scorching Burst. No multi-attack, so only one of these can be done at any given time. And our Burning Touch only does 18 points of fire damage at reach. The Flaming Orb can be used as a ranged attack spell, which is nice, for 40 damage. So already we would be, we'd be using that. Or Scorching Burst. And Severin chooses a point he can see within 60 feet of him. Each creature within 5 feet of that point must make a dex save, taking 18 damage on a failed save or half as much. Okay, so we've just got a big old AoE shot. Yeah, so a nice little burst, 5 feet of a point. Cool. All right. So let's take a look at our numbers. We've got Burning Touch for 18 points of damage. We have Flaming Orb for 40 points of damage to one target. And then we have Scorching Burst for 18 points of damage, but because it's an AoE spell, area of effect, we're going to multiply that times 2. So we have 18 times 2, which works out to 36. And that can be done every round, as provided they, well, yeah, they can just do it every round. I'm sure there's something saying in Rise of Tiamat. Tamaz, hello, how you doing? Thanks for joining. If you saw the pin up above, if you've got any monsters you'd like to see me break down while I'm live streaming, feel free to put it in chat and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Right now we're looking at Severin from the Rise of Tiamat. This was a random one that came up not too long ago, and I'm looking at it now. Let's see here. So, what else can Severin do? Well, we've already looked at our actions, and now we have our legendary actions to work through. So, the legendary actions, typical 3 actions per round, and one of them can be that Severin makes an attack. All right, doesn't specify. So, probably means you can do Burning Touch, Flaming Orb, or Scorching Burst at any point. Next, we also have Fiery Teleport for 2 action points, which, let's see here, along with Severin, along with its objects, teleports 60 feet to an unoccupied space. Each creature within 5 feet of Severin before the teleport takes 5 points of fire damage. Alright, so it's kind of like Thunderstep, except fire damage. Not really great, but does get Severin out of dodge. Let's see here. Cornucopia, you said, I think it'd be cool if you could do the Vrock. My players fought one recently, and seeing them analyzed would be neat. Okay, I will add the Vrock, and we can do that next. If you happen to know what book it's from, it's probably the Monster Manual, just so I have it up. Otherwise, I'll have to look for it. That'd be great. And then we have also Hellish Charm. Now, before I forget, let me come back here and I'm going to put the Vrock in, just so I can take a look at that next. Hellish Charm. Costs 3 actions. Severin targets 1 creature he can see. Targets wrapped in magical chains of fire and restrained. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Cornucopia. It's the monster manual. Thank you. We will take a look at that next. And the target makes a, at the end of its turn, makes a DC 17 strength saving throw. Or ending the effect on itself on a success. Okay, so for 3 action points, it could basically restrain 1 target, which is helpful and could add in 1 bonus AC because of the restrain and the constrict ability from giant snakes and whatnot. So let's see here. Legendary actions. We have the attacks, which I would use the Flaming Orb 3 times since it's the maximum amount of damage. So we'll just do this times 3 for 120 points of damage. Next would be the Fiery Teleport, which is only going to be 5.5 times 2 because, you know, it's only 1d10 points of fire damage and it's got that half die when we take the average. So times it by 2 people in the AoE burst, we're only looking at 11 points, but does help get Severin out of the way. And then also Hellish Chains, which targets only 1 player but restrains. So we could say possibly... So it's going to do the 21 points of damage, but also possibly 1 point of AC. But here's the thing. Our legendary actions to do 3 attacks is much better than just doing the teleport for 2 points or the Hellish Chains for 3 points. Although this is a perfect scenario and Severin's doing one heck of a job beating up the players. Therefore, I'm not going to use any of the other ones. I'm just going to look for what's going to do the highest amount of damage. And that's definitely going to be legendary actions. Or the legendary actions for 3 of the Flame Orbs. So, since there's really nothing else to worry about here, this is going to be a straight Flame Orbs plus the legendary actions, all 3 rounds of combat to get that DC, the DPR figured out. And that's pretty straightforward. It would be Flame Orb plus the legendary actions of also Flame Orb for a total of 160. And then normally we would, you know, add that up and then divide it by 3 to get the average, but it's still going to work out to be 160. So because Flame Orb is in a ranged attack spell, we're going to use the +5 bonus, which is already pretty low for 160 points of damage. And let's see what that looks like in our chart actually for that much. So 160 points of damage is going to fall in here for an OCR of 22, and sure enough, we are looking at an attack bonus of 11. So Severin only has an attack bonus of +5, which is going to be -6 under, so it's going to shift it down 3 times from the 22 that we have to the 19 that I found automatically in the chart over here. So that's why the OCR is a 19, even though he has a chance of doing high damage from all those Flame Orbs. He's got a really horrible chance of actually hitting with that +5. So what are we looking at here? We're looking at a CR 18, and it's expected to be a CR 11. Oh no. Why does this always happen? So we got the 18 here, and we have the expected 11. And there you have it. That's how you break down and expose the monster's CR values. If you like what you've seen, hit the subscribe button down below and give the video a thumbs up. I post daily, and until next time, thanks for watching.